Yo, oh, can we sign Osimhen? What's happening here?
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. Genuinely do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Liam Twomey of The Athletic, on the Athletic Football Podcast, of course, he's the Chelsea correspondent, has spoken about Chelsea want 2 more attacking signings, and they want one to be Osimhen. Despite us, getting the deal over the line for Samu, Amarodian, lots of people unsure, are they okay? I sort of said we've got a lot of strikers now, we should be okay, but, excuse me, like many of you, if we sign Osimhen, it would be very, very difficult to not get excited. He is that shirt seller that I've been talking about, the guy that sort of injects some juice into brand Chelsea in a current landscape where we're just signing just loads and loads of young potential players over and over and over and over. We just got to sign a new goalkeeper. Apparently we've got 8 goalkeepers on the books. It's getting ruddy silly. But to make no bones about it, Victor Osimhen would represent a Galactico level signing that many of us have been craving because we haven't really had that for a while. So we're going to reference what was said by the Chelsea correspondent Liam Twomey on the Athletic Football Podcast. We are actually going to jump onto his X-Value stats page because we did that with Samu. Many of you guys liked it. Although I don't have the AI breakdown of him, it doesn't matter. For some reason it's not working on the platform. It doesn't really matter so much because we know about Osimhen. It was more relevant for Samu, but we do want to look at Osimhen's stats and remind ourselves about this guy. And of course, Cucurella and Palmer are back at Cobham, which can only, represent good news. All right, friends, we're going to get into it. Sorry, I got hay fever today, so if I'm clearing my throat a little bit, need to take an antihistamine. But thank you for joining me. If you do want to support the content, as always, you're welcome to. You can do it just by liking, subscribing, hitting the bell notifications icon if you do subscribe, so you can keep up to date with my content and you don't get left behind. All right. So first of all, just some good news. Cole Palmer back at Cobham training and Cucurella. Of course, Cole Palmer's self-explanatory. He is the guy at Chelsea at the moment, and hopefully he will remain to be the guy, but hopefully we won't need to rely on him to be the guy for much longer because we can rely on the system, the football, other players, maybe. But him being back's a sight for sore eyes, especially after a difficult preseason where obviously the defense was the issue in the preseason. But still, you want, if you've got that guy back in the starting 11, and we want to see how he features under Enzo Maresca. Do you know what I mean? So it's good, feeling positive, and similarly, Cucurella is back. Now, I never disliked Cucurella. I always thought he was an excellent footballer, and I've been very firm on that for a while. I think that this guy's good. But I don't want to say a remontada because that suggests he was good, dropped off, and now he's back. He never really hit the ground running for Chelsea, Cucurella, but he was good at the end of last season, playing in that inverted role. Of course, he went off, won the Euros, being an integral player, excuse me, to that Spanish side. And we've looked like we need someone that can just really come in and invert well, and so I think, especially defensively, we're so poor in pre-season, I think he will be a sight for sore eyes, and I'm kind of pleased about that. So Cucurella, he'll be very pleased with the new coach in Enzo Maresca that suits him. We are all unsure about the future of Ben Chilwell. We'll see what happens with him and where he plays, how he features, what role he's going to do, because he's not being seen as an inverted fullback, so where is he going to play, And he's on massive wages as well, so I do fear for him just a little bit. Right, so before we jump into Osimhen, I think we signed another goalkeeper. We've got 8 goalkeepers now. I'm not going to react to every single one of these signings. Who knew that I'd come to a time in my YouTube career where I would not react to a Chelsea signing? That's what these men have done to me. They've exhausted my transfer dopamine excitement, and I've got to the point now where, I'll, react to a Samu, all the sort of, many of the players we've signed so far, but when we're signing just more and more youngsters, loaning them back to clubs, sending them on loan elsewhere, even bringing them into the Chelsea development team, on quiet news days, I'm going to talk about that, but almost out of protest now. Look, I'm not saying they shouldn't do this. I'm not saying they shouldn't do their plan of front-loading investment, buying all these players and creating a portfolio of assets. Fine. If that's the way to make Chelsea money and us financially, stable in the future, do it. Whatever. You can have my blessing. Do you know what I mean? Provided no rules are being broken. But I ain't going to constantly get gassed up on it. But What I would get gassed up on is Victor Osimhen. So yes, at CFCPYS aggregating this about the striker talk from Liam Twomey, the Chelsea correspondent. Like I said on the Athletic Football podcast, saying this, he was asked about Samu, of course, but he said Samu Amorodian is coming in as a second or third choice option to compete / cover for Nicholas Jackson. Because the Athletic has been told Chelsea want 2 more attacking signings. So before we read the second part of this, off the bat, you got to feel bad for Mark Yu, because if Chelsea made another signing for a striker, they would be relegating you to 4th choice. And let's be real, if you're 4th choice and you've been, starting every preseason game and you've already made first team appearances for Barcelona, you ain't being 4th choice at Chelsea. They're trying to rebuild themselves into former glory. He's going to go on loan. He's going to probably go on loan to a Sevilla. That was a rumour. I do feel bad for him because A, he's looked wicked. B, I've liked the idea of taking a young starlet from Barcelona and him thriving at Chelsea. The optics are fun, right? And yeah, he looked good, bro. I liked how he operated as a striker. So it would be frustrating, but the truth is, if we've got that many strikers, then I just hope we haven't said to him, yeah, you're going to be in this squad, and then just farm him out on loan. Surely, they wouldn't do that. We'll have to see. Maybe they were like, look, you'll get all of preseason. If you really, really impress, there's a chance you'll be in the squad. Even that's disappointing for the lad, but we'll see what happens there. So yes, Chelsea want to make 2 more attacking signings, Twomey says. They would like a number 9, and they'd like a wide forward, okay? So operating from the left predominantly, which again, Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling would be thinking, ugh. Many of you would be thinking, about time we get something a bit more. Because you could Cole Palmer on the right as a banker, even if he plays more inside, but as on the right as well, world class. Noni Madueke, he's been a shining light in preseason, and he's been pretty good in his Chelsea career so far. If you really contextually look at his age, where he's come from, how he's developing, how he's got to learn and grow, he's done pretty well, and he's been the form attacker in the Chelsea preseason. So that right hand side, Enzo Maresca can look at and be like, yeah, I'm cool. He's looking at the left, he's probably thinking, I ain't cool. Raheem Sterling systemically can probably do what he wants, but he's making mistakes. And Mudryk, we could talk about Mudryk all day long in terms of raw materials to develop into a great player, but he's 23. I know it's still young, but what radical, it's pretty tricky, bro. So yes, left winger, and obviously that's a massive story, and we will cover that here on the channel when the stories develop, when players get linked. We'll even do some, like we're going to do in a moment with the X Value platform, we'll do a bit of that as well on players we're linked to. But he says Chelsea want a number 9 as well, and they would like that number 9 to be Victor Osimhen. So the story remains there, and of course, it's worth mentioning, guys. I know I said in recent videos, but if David Ornstein said something, if he speaks, it's happening. Chelsea was speaking to Napoli about signing Victor Osimhen, knowing that they want Romelu Lukaku. It's just where we're at, bro. It's just what was going on. So it was a thing, And Chelsea they just want Victor Osimhen still. So that is huge, if you ask me. All right, I'm going to set up this screen for us to look at now. One sec. Should have prepared before. Here we go. So let's look at his overview first. This is the X Value page for Victor Osimhen of Napoli. As you can see, player functions, he is an all-round finisher, and that is 90%. So he is a bit of a target man, 10%, but generally, this guy is I'm going to get you and score goals. As you can see, in terms of key metrics, the strong ones are headed shots. Really, really nice to see a striker try and score some headers. We ain't seen much of that lately. Really, really, really strong. open play shots inside the box. So this guy has an incredibly high shot volume as well. And as you can see here on his performance spider chart, assisting isn't that bad actually for a striker. Passes and recovery is low, fine. But shooting, carries and aerials, that's a balanced shape for a centre forward. And as you can see here, unlike Samu on his heat map, Samu's heat map, he was like there and there, the predominant pockets, the inside 10s with a little bit there. Victor Osimhen is keep me in the 18-yard box. I'm going to pop off loads of shots and I am going to score those goals. Of course, in terms of like what we need to know about him, he's 25 years old. He doesn't turn 26 till the end of the year, literally right before the end of the year. Cool. He scored 15 goals and provided 3 assists last season with shooting accuracy of 45.6%. I think that's really good, actually. But let's look at his advanced stats, because this is really the page that I want to be showing you guys, because this is the promising stuff here. Like, in terms of the smart ranking panel of his kind, he is at the top. And there's the likes of, like, Martinez, Immobile, Thuram, Lukaku. As an all-round finisher, as this profile, he's the best in Europe, it looks like here. That's what they're presenting him as, at least. Now, this is last season, right? This is last season where he didn't apparently have that good a season, but he was injured a lot of it. He still was in 100th percentile for expected goals in the 99th for non-penalty. So he was still, when he was on the pitch, he was amazing. That was last season. Let's look at the season before when he won the Scudetto. Yeah, look, expected goals, 0.85 per game. That is absolutely elite. Again, 100th percentile. He's the top. He's the best. Non-penalty XG, he's the best. Per shot, 94th percentile. And really, again, this polar chart here, it just shows you how balanced he is. Because you might buy a striker, right, that is like one or two of these and really strong, and you feel like that. But this guy is really, really well balanced. And this metric here that is on X value users, it's expected offensive value added. So of course, this measures the increased probability of scoring using two terms. Expected goal contributions, I think it's progression as well. Basically, it's attacking threat. It's like how much do you add to the team in terms of offensive. It's loads of stuff that governs it, and he's in the 99th percentile. What this means, guys, what it means is it all boils down to this guy is a really, really effective striker. So, he's 25, he's not old, he's high profile in terms of he's a bit of a world star, he's a bit of an African icon, he's won a league title, a Scudetto, he's got an affiliation and a love for Chelsea in Didier Drogba, so a lot of it is there. Obviously there's things to consider, like injuries, like, last season he had problems with injuries. I'm not sure how bad that is. We'd have to probably do a little bit of a deep dive, look a little bit closer on that as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? So even if we loan out Gu and we somehow sign Victor Osimhen, we're still going to have 3 strikers at Chelsea that want to play games. You know, granted, you might think, like, hark back to the last 20 years, we've had great teams with 3+ strikers in before. Fine. And we've got a lot of games. Not only do we have Europe, like those old great Chelsea teams would have had European football as well, but we've also got the Club World Cup annexed at the end of the season. So there's even more games. And yes, of course, Nico Jackson can play on the left wing, despite Enzo Maresca recently coming out saying, I see him as a striker. You would not be surprised at all if Nico started a game playing up top. Another striker came on. Let's just not say Osimhen for the moment. Let's say Samu comes on. You would not be surprised at all if just Nico moves over to the left and he stays on the pitch, especially if we need a goal, because he's a goal scorer, Nico Jackson. It's tough, isn't it? Like, you'd have to just trust the club that if they sign Osimhen, they can do it financially. And I've said it on recent videos, I'll say it again. I do feel like we've got a very strong hand, or as strong as hand as you can have against De Laurentiis of Napoli. In terms of, I know Osimhen is prepared to go to Saudi Arabia, but there's still this idea that he'd like to stay in Europe. And he likes Chelsea. That's another thing Twomey said on this particular episode that I listened to, that podcast. He said, you know, he likes the idea of coming to Chelsea. He idolises Didier Drogba, but he won't lower his salary. He wants to get paid what he feels he's worth. Even if Chelsea are a little bit flexible with their own salary, I don't think we'd meet what he wants. My position remains the same on this. If we could get a loan with an option to buy, that would be amazing for us. We know that he's not going to play for Napoli. Like, he's not training with the first team. So, you know, it might be in Napoli's interest to send him to Chelsea. Even if they don't sell him to Chelsea, loan him to Chelsea. He plays well, and then everyone, you know, scores the same amount of goals as he did when he won the Scudetto. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he's world class. And then, you know, he helps us get into the top 4. They sell him to Saudi Arabia or PSG for ridiculous amounts of money. And we had a nice time, and Samu and Nico developed even more. That would be perfect. Or, you know, or he does really well for Chelsea. He absolutely loves it at Stamford Bridge and goes, I need to do whatever I can to make sure I stay here. This is the right fit for me, you know? So, yes, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the stats and stuff that I presented down in this video. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out whether to continue with that subscription because it's very, very expensive. If you guys like it, I'll do it, basically. And let me know what you think about the striker situation. Comment down below. And I'll thank you for liking and subscribing. And I do hope to see you back here soon. Peace.